Hello, everybody. I'm coming to you from the Wat Pediot Temple here in Bangkok on a very, very hot day. I forgot what the heat and the humidity can be like here in Southeast Asia. Now, I'm filming this video from just the outside of the temple, and I'm going to share a lot of interior imagery from this temple just behind me as I'm speaking. The reason I'm filming and speaking from out here is because there are people inside, of course, engaged in their practice. Now, why am I bringing this video to you here? Well, to me, the beauty of travel, especially when we're looking at it through an esoteric or a spiritual lens, is to be able to come to places like this and to be able to see firsthand what it is that our practice in many ways is trying to show us. Remember, the external world is just a mirror of the internal self. And in such journeys and pilgrimages to places like this, or you can fill in the blank. It could be a Christian pilgrimage. It can be a spiritual pilgrimage of anything that resonates with you. But what I feel is so profound and so important about these journeys is that when we are here and we are steeped in the energy of such a place, we begin to see a deeper meaning and a deeper story about our own internal space. So I think it's very beautiful to think about when we are viewing iconography such as this here at the temple. The question comes up as to who's looking at who, right? Why are we seeing this? Why are we doing this? And we can eventually lose ourselves and find the reflection of our true nature, our true self, in what it is that we're looking at. So, when we sit in front of images of the Buddha, like here in this case, we might find our real self or our true self, or at least a deeper thread or a deeper meaning of ourself. And further to that, and I think this is very important, is these types of experiences are becoming, in many ways, they're becoming harder to find. They're becoming harder for us to experience. Now, of course, this is a very popular temple, and Bangkok is a very popular city, but I wanted to bring attention to my upcoming pilgrimage in Kyoto, and to kind of mirror the reasoning behind such a journey with this space here in Bangkok. Now, what we're going to be experiencing on this journey into the roots of esoteric Buddhism and our practice in Kyoto in my next pilgrimage in April is in many ways an opportunity to witness and experience and live something that is becoming increasingly more and more difficult to find in this modern world, in this connected world. A lot of these practices that require dedicated and consistent surrendering into the self are sadly becoming more and more rare. Now, there's a lot of reasons for that I won't speculate in this video because it would just be my opinion, but suffice it to say that they are becoming more and more difficult to find something that is fully and truly authentic. For example, on the pilgrimage in April, we will be linking up with, walking with, meditating with, and learning from the Shugendo, the people in Japan who practice the art of Shugendo. Now, this is a practice of mountain aestheticism. It's a practice of finding our true meaning, our true essence, via the energy of the wild. It is a practice of going into the forest or into the mountains to try to find yourself, to lay bare all the resistance that we hold within so that we can emerge with a deeper connection and a deeper understanding of ourselves. And why is that so important? Why am I bringing it up here? Because it's not a coincidence about Usui Sensei's journey on Mount Kurama. It's not a coincidence that he sought this place out, and he sought it out to find something deeper about himself. Why is that not a coincidence? Because these mountains around Kyoto, so Mount Hiei, Mount Kurama, and so on, are very, very significant when it comes to the practice of Shugendo. They're very significant mountains when they come to the stories that they are presenting to us. So we might find a journey through Mount Kurama as one that is very special in regards to our Reiki journey, for instance. We might find the ability to be at Usugi Gongen to be a very beautiful and very moving experience because we know the story of Reiki, but that story, and this is the aspect that I think is so important about these pilgrimages and why we need to engage in them, is because the story of Reiki as it's told, as I first understood it, as it was first kind of brought to me by my original teachers, was only the tip of the iceberg, as it were, right? There's a reason to go into the mountain, into the wilderness. There's a reason that Reiki came from the surrendering that is found and that is necessitated via such practices. When Usui Sensei went into fasting on his 21 days at Mount Kurama, he was working with the entire ethos of the mountain, the entire story of the mountain, all of the deities and everything that they bring forward. All of those are very, very significant, and they're very rich in the understanding of why this place and why this time to seek out an aspect of himself that he couldn't find through his normal monastic duties, his normal work with Tendai Buddhism and Jodo Pure Land Buddhism and so on. So turning into this and experiencing the art and the practice of Shugendo, for example, by a first-hand account, by first-hand interaction with Shugen practitioners, is obviously deeply rewarding and enriching to your own practice. Now, going back to what I was saying at the beginning of this video, since everything is a mirror of your internal space, for those of you that are joining on this pilgrimage, you will be seeing a mirror of your own internal journey. The information and the teachings and the understandings that are brought forward by all of the opportunities that we have on this pilgrimage to learn right from the very, very source, all of those are going to be incredibly enriching views and reflections of your own internal self, your own internal space. So when we are having a private audience, for instance, with a senior Ajari monk on Mount Hiei is the birthplace of Pure Land Buddhism and Buddhism, for that matter, in Japan, a deeply significant mountain, obviously, for the country. So when we are having a private audience with one of the senior monks on this mountain, who better will it possibly be? Who better could it possibly be to learn from about the journey, about the practice of the marathon monks, about the practice of the Kaihogyu, about how all of that relates back into your own journey into the self, right? And the further opportunities with the other priests, the other practitioners, the other exclusive accesses to temples that we're going to be having, all of this is an opportunity to see something that is beyond the scope and the radar of the normal journey, beyond the scope and the radar of the normal tourist, beyond the scope and the radar of what normally would be presented if you just turn up to the mountain. That's incredibly significant because we are looking always, at least in my opinion, we should always be looking for our understanding of the practice, our depth of the practice, the meaning of the practice from as close to the source as possible. So who better to learn about the significance of Mount Kurama than the head priest at Kuramadera Temple? Who better to learn from the significance and the importance of the Kaihogyo than an individual who has been living it his whole life, right? Who better and more significant to learn about the practice of Shugendo than from the head priests of the temple in Kurama, where Shugendo is practiced and preserved? Why do we seek these people out? Why are we seeking out all of this? Well, first off, it's becoming harder and harder, like I was saying, to find authentic experiences in this world. It's becoming harder and harder, and it's becoming increasingly more difficult to find and seek out those experiences. And first off, not just to seek them out and connect to them, but more importantly, to learn from them. If we can honor and cherish the significance of such opportunities, and then we can witness or understand that such opportunities are really a mirror of ourself, then that means we are bringing all of the gravity of such a meeting and such encounters, we are actually bringing that gravity into the self, right? That's an opportunity for us to find out and discover and uncover deeper meanings to the questions that we seek. And I think the immediacy of information, the immediacy of experience via the web, right? Via, ironically, videos on YouTube, of course, which I'm making right now. the immediacy of our life in general, in many ways it takes away the impact that such auspicious meetings can have. And I don't even know that it just takes away the impact. In many ways, the immediacy of our lives, now it takes away even the opportunity to have such auspicious meetings and encounters, because they're becoming fewer and further between, right? So what does that mean for you? Why seek that out? Why journey? Why go into such a pilgrimage? Why put forth that effort? Because it's your journey, right? Where better to learn about yourself than right from the source, right from the roots? Reiki is not a practice necessarily just about healing. It's really a practice about finding and discovering the self. It's about going into the self and learning all of the nuanced aspects of our attachment and our self. So when we travel to these places, when we journey together into experiences like that are coming up here in April 2024, experiences that have never been offered to the public before, when we find ourselves in a small group, in an intimate setting, with somebody who has dedicated their entire life to just one simple practice, the gravity of such a moment in our life can't possibly be overstated. In this opportunity to come together, in this opportunity to dive into the very base of our practice, the very root of our practice, we can understand the root of why the practice is taking hold of us in the first place. If all of this is new to you, maybe somebody is in the West, they've never been to Asia, maybe it all seems a bit abstract or a bit too far-fetched. Think about the gravity, and this is how I'm kind of talking about the necessity of a pilgrimage. Think about the gravity to a Catholic to be able to go to the Vatican City and to be able to meet an archbishop, somebody who is right at the base of the practice, or even the Pope, for that matter, to be able to connect so deeply and so richly and so authentically to somebody who is off limits. Imagine what that would do for you and your practice of Catholicism, right? Or, for instance, if you are a Muslim, right, and you go to complete the Hajj and you go to Mecca, this is one of the, if you can do it, it's one of the pillars of the practice, is to go to the roots of the practice. And every year, millions of people take this pilgrimage, right? So we journey to these places to find out meaning about ourselves. And we do it now. We do it when we can and immediately when we can, because every moment that we wait is one more moment that it most likely won't come true. You know, again, it speaks to the immediacy of society and the immediacy of our world. I love this statement that we shouldn't put off to tomorrow what we can do today. So if you can do it, step up and do it, because there's no guarantee that tomorrow will happen. There's no guarantee that opportunities, when they come knocking to you, will knock again and will present themselves to you again. Get out there, get moving, and get discovering, because what you're doing in reality is you are discovering a mirror and an entire journey into yourself. You're discovering every aspect of yourself. You're discovering via external integrations, understandings, and experiences with different cultures, different beliefs, different religions, different foods, different images, sights, senses, smells, whatever it might be. Every single one of those things is indeed an aspect of you. It's an aspect of your real being. It's an aspect of who you are, because we are all daikomyo. So we are all the energy of all things. So how better, I think, in my opinion, to find a deep compassion within yourself than by exploring the world and by seeking out other people's views on things, other people's images, other people's ways of living, so that we might recognize that as a way of living in ourselves intrinsically already. Why not seek out the knowledge and the wisdom of people who have been at the practice their entire life, right? Of course we would want to do that. How much more powerful is your practice going to be if you learn from somebody who is right at the root and has been working on this their whole life? This is why I lead these pilgrimages to Japan, because I'm so committed to the practice of Usui Reiki Roho, and I'm so committed to learning it at its roots. So who better for me to seek out than the people who I've put together on this upcoming tour, for instance? And it's my sincere honor and privilege and joy to share that with everybody. And I'm so eternally grateful for the ability to share that with everybody else who can answer the call. So I do hope that this is motivating and inspiring enough to get us to consider the movement in the moment right now, right? Jump on every opportunity that presents itself to you to learn, to continue to grow, and to continue to deepen your practice. It's such a beautiful journey. And the only thing stopping us from that is inertia. So take one step forward, take that next step, and seek out the things that are rapidly becoming harder and harder to find. Seek out authentic learning and authentic experiences while it's still possible. I hope this video is beneficial, everybody, to your practice, to your journey, or maybe it's just beneficial to your imagination so you can start planting seeds to when we might meet on an upcoming pilgrimage in Kyoto. It would be an absolute honor. Thank you for the support of the channel. As always, everybody, be well and gosho.